Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys is finally, I know, yell at me all you want in the comments, it's fine, I can take it. We're reviewing Black Panther 2, Black Panther Wakanda forever. Wakanda for never, right? Yeah. So I know it's been a hot minute since I reviewed the last official MCU thing, whatever the fudge that was. I know I just reviewed Thunderbolts, which, if you haven't seen that review, go check it out. Or the new Avengers, as they screwed up the marketing for that one, right? But anyway, yeah, it is it's been a minute since I, covered this, and I am still going. Of course, after this, it is, I know I skipped around a little bit, but after this, it'll be Secret Invasion, which I've only seen the first episode of, and that, of course, I am filming this video in bulk, so, this one will be, hopefully, before we leave for Florida. My mom and I are going to Disney for about 10 days or so, so, I'm going to have a few videos posted while I'm there. Of course, I do a little community post about that, so just wanted to let you guys know. But I am graduated, so that's freaking awesome. Hopefully I'll be in a full teaching position in the fall. That's the goal. We'll find out what happens. But yeah, I'm officially done with school. It's a wild friggin' feeling. And yeah, we are reviewing Black Panther 2. So this movie is pretty insane for a lot of reasons, right? Of course, Ryan Coogler is back from directing the first Black Panther, which, look, the first Black Panther film is really good, okay? I'm not going to pretend it's not, but it's also not a masterpiece, at least in my opinion, right? I know everyone critiques and complains about the end final battle where it looks like a PS2 game, and yeah, it does. I probably talked about that in my actual review for it, but it's not like a bad film. It's just not personally one of my favorites. I love Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa in all the movies that he was in. And it sucks that he did pass away, obviously, but that obviously, after the whole initial period of, oh shit, that sucks, became the period of, oh, what are we gonna do for Marvel, right? Like, the guy's dead, so it's like, what do we do? Same thing with Ahsoka, right? Like, Balin Skull, one of the Sith guys or whatever from the Ahsoka TV show, he passed away, so I think they got some guy from Game of Thrones or whatever to be in season 2, which, it sucks when these actors do pass away, but again, they are human, they are people, things happen. It's not fun, and it's not a good thing, but it's something that just happens, and you got to roll with it, right? Especially when you're in the entertainment industry. And with this, it's like, all right, well, how do we, shift the Black Panther sequel, calling it Black Panther without Black Panther, right? Like, what do we do? And with that, of course, you run into some narrative issues, right? How do we go forward? What do we do? Who's the villain? What's going on? Well, you get this. And I'm going to straight up say, I think this is a better movie than the first one. I know you're probably going to be, but yeah, I don't care. Don't clip that. It's a good-ass movie, okay? Is it perfect? No. It's, I think roughly 161 minutes, so it's a longer Marvel movie, and that's, frankly, the reason why I haven't watched it in such a long time, because it's almost 3 frickin' hours, and it's hard to watch a nearly 3-hour movie on a school night when you got to be up at 6 o'clock and teach lesson plans, all right? So it is tricky. But now that I'm on break, and, obviously I'm going to Disney soon, but I have more time to watch it, and yeah, it's good. I think that they really kind of dealt with T'Challa's passing in a really unique way. I think that him, obviously, them little things, establishing shots like T'Challa's image on the mural when they're dancing, or their crazy Wakandan way of mourning and not celebrating, but a funeral, so to speak. Which cultures vary, and I think it's ours is very effing boring, or we just fucking cry all the time. But they have fun and they're dancing and they're doing all banging on drums. Like, man, I want to do that. I mean, I don't, but I do. It's weird. But I think that it's interesting that they chose to go, hey, we're not like recasting, and I do know that that was a big issue, right? When Chadwick passed away, Marvel's like, we'll never recast, and he was always the one, and never. And then some white guy died, and they're like, just get Harrison Ford. Just get Harrison Ford. No one will notice. He's white. Huh? So I get it. It's just like, it's a very odd standard. Like, why replace for one guy and not another guy? I don't know. It's weird. Marvel is a really weird thing sometimes, but the movie itself, again, really kind of starts off with that slow homage to Chadwick Boseman. They even have, the MCU logo is literally completely silent. It's like a metaphorical, a moment of silence moment. And that's really cool. I think that's really interesting how they, dealt with that. Obviously, throughout the film, you get, Shuri obviously being the new Black Panther, which I think is it's a good choice, and that's probably the most logical step they would have gone, apart from recasting or whatever. And I also like that they never actually confirmed T'Challa's actual death, right? Like, Okoye mentions illness, so I'm assuming cancer, because fuck cancer, right? You guys know me, I've dealt with that, just like Deadpool, right? Like, we can all agree that's a word to use for cancer. It sucks. But yeah, I mean, I think that it is an important step for them to take, for them to be like, oh, he got shot. Or, oh, Thanos actually got him. Or, oh, he fell down some stairs. Like, no, like, it's a mature and thematically appropriate reason to go about that, and I think that, you know, kind of that passing of the torch, so to speak, to Shuri feels earned, because Shuri isn't the most, you know, developed MCU character in the world, but she is a good enough character to take on this mantle. It makes sense. Obviously, other characters would have worked as well, Okoye or whoever, but I think she makes the most sense, at least for me. And I like the villain, obviously, Namor, or I remember the big outrage of Namor, and people were like, including me, were like, why is he called Namor? It's pronounced Namor, and he says Namor, but then Shuri and everyone else says Namor. So I guess I actually Googled it, and there's no like definitive pronunciation. It's just whatever the hell you want, I guess. So I'm just gonna call him Namor because that's what makes the most sense to me. That's what I know him as, the Submariner, right? But like, you know, props to him for giving him the little Tinkerbell ass looking floaty feet. You know, it could easily veer into the ridiculous aspect, and you know, it's supposed to, right? It's a comic book movie. MODOK, for example, in Quantumania looks really effing weird, but that's how he looks in comics. Straight up. So it's like, you know, when you're adapting things, sometimes it's going to look a little wonky. But I think Namor looks really good. I think his actor did a good job. I'm still not a fan of, you know, certain things where I remember some people threw a hissy fit about colonization, and that's not how colonization works. I don't really care. I just want to watch a Marvel movie. But, you know, he goes, my friends call me cuckoo, kla, kla, kla. I'm like, huh? Obviously, my joke that you probably heard me say, my friends call me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, because that's what I hear. But yeah, I think that, you know, he's not the most intimidating Marvel villain. He's not the best, but I think he is well enough written. And, you know, the movie is long, right? It goes into enough detail where you're like, all right, I kind of understand Shuri's perspective and the Wakandans aspect, but also, not Tanalor, that's from Star Wars. Whatever the fudge, their underwater Avatar, the Way of Water looking place is called. You know, you're looking at it, you're like, all right, you know, maybe Namor is right? Maybe he makes some good points. He's not just, oh, I'm you know, like, what's his face? Killmonger. People are like, oh, he might have a point, right? Oh, man, he's making a lot of sense. And then in the end, he's just like, oh, just start killing everybody. So then it's like, oh, okay, you know, he's objectively in the wrong now, right? But Namor really isn't that, like, evil. I mean, he really just wants the best for his people, and Shuri wants the best for her people. And, you know, you have these clashing tribes and these clashing ideologies clashing, and you're like, oh crap, you know, what's going to happen? And of course, there is some really epic battle scenes. The fight scenes in this are incredible, really, really good stuff. There are a few moments where the CGI people, the blue people, look a little bit weird. Obviously, if you look at the front cover, you have the Wakandans on this, and then you flip it, you got the Namor and Atuma and Namora and all that, and all the other blue people. Not the Avatar blue people, but I think it's really funny that this actually, if you know Ninjago, season 14, Seabound, the Nia-centric season, this actually copied off of the Ninjago. Like, literally, pause the video real quick. Google Ninjago Seabound poster, and it's the same effing layout as this. Marvel copied Ninjago. They did it. And then for Endgame, Ninjago copied Endgame. And I think that's just really effing funny. But yeah, anyway, just, I don't know, Google that real quick, come back. But I think the stakes are really high. I think that it's a really good, you know, obviously it's a lot to balance, right? You got the passing of T'Challa. You got Shuri as the next Black Panther. You got all the grief that comes with the death of T'Challa. You've got Namor and his people. You've got the bad guy, right? You've got the introduction of Riri Williams, Ironheart, which I know a lot of people have a problem with Riri, apart from the racists that are just like, oh, you know, she's a bad character. She's really, really bad. And I'll admit, she's not bad in the film. Okay, I'm not going to say, oh my god, she's horrible. But there are a few moments where it kind of has like a Tron Legacy effect with Sam from Tron Legacy, where I feel like almost every time Riri tried to talk or say anything, it was, oh shit, are the cops after me? Oh shit, what's going on? Oh shit, so and it was just either that and a swear word, or it was just like some really quippy joke that I didn't laugh at, that you're supposed to clearly laugh at. And I know humor is subjective, but there were funny moments in the movie, but this is more of a serious MCU film, given the subject matter. And I guess Riri's there to kind of be like a little bit of a levity-breaking character, but most of the time I found her jokes pretty unfunny. She's fine, like, she's acted well enough. You know, she's not like, oh my god, she's not Catherine Newton horrible from Quantumania, where she's just like a wooden plank. But at the same time, I think, you know, she does deliver a fine performance. But there's one moment in this movie, I've only seen, this is my second time watching this. I only saw it the one time in theaters, and then a few days ago on Blu-ray. And there's one moment that really stood out. I remember a few things from this movie, not everything. But the one thing that stood out is really funny to me, where Shuri and Okoye are getting chased by some cops, right? And obviously they're not crooked cops, but they were sent by, I believe it was Allegra Dientra, the Viagra, or whatever her name is. And then you get Bilbo Baggins, and you know, the son of Bilbo Baggin's the son of Red Hulk, right? Harrison Han Solo. But at the same time, they're escaping the cops, and then Riri's in the Ironheart suit, right? And it's a cool scene, kind of mirroring the first Iron Man, which is a cool little thing there. But then, like, she has a missile, and she's like, oh, here, I'll distract them. And then she, like, kamikazes a freaking nuke onto the car. And there's, like, one shot of some cops, like, oh, my God, they're running. And then the cop cars blow up, and it's this massive explosion, and all the cop cars blow up. And I literally looked at it, I was like, because I'm eating my ice cream at 11:30. I'm like, hey, on a minute. I paused the movie. I went on Google and I Googled on my little phone, and I said, hey, I don't have Siri. I said, hey Google, and it didn't respond, so I had to type it. But I typed in, does Riri Williams murder cops in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever? Because I'm like, maybe if you're really political, you could be like, oh, it's a woke thing because, you know, the black person killing the white cops, revenge. And it's like, that's what everyone on the internet was saying. And I'm like, that can't be it. Like, that's too effed up to be that. You know what I mean? It can't be. But it also wouldn't make any sense for Riri Williams, a 19-year-old college student or whatever, for her very first act in the MCU to murder a bunch of policemen, right? Like, that can't be correct. She's a criminal. She's a killer, right? And obviously I Googled it, and they were like, oh, no, it's fine. They all ran it out of the way. Like, okay, well, they didn't really film it like that. So there's a few moments like that where, like, some of the filmmaking, some of the editing is a little bit too, like, sometimes scenes just abruptly end, or there's a shot and then there's another shot and it's just like that. It doesn't really feel like it blends. And I have allergies because I was working outside. But there's another moment where Okoye dies, right? Queen Ramonda dies. I completely forgot she died in this movie, like 100%. I remember the water, Wakanda getting flooded or whatever, like Gotham and the Batman, but I didn't remember that. So, like, Riri and her are, you know, drowning, right? And there's a shot of her, like, swimming, grabbing Riri, and then swimming back up, right? And then, like, that's shot A, right? And then, like, Shuri, you know, runs in the room, Mom, where are you, Mom? You know, and then, like, the next shot is just a fucking pan of Ramonda, like, face down in the water, and I'm like, that's weird. I actually laughed. Because I'm like, it was such an abrupt edit. It wasn't like her spitting out water and her dying to say, you know, I love you, Shuri, or you have to be the next Black Panther, or whatever. It's just a shot of her face down in bubbles, dead. And I'm like, the Queen drowned that easily? Like, it didn't seem like they were that deep underwater. You know, like, Tom Cruise can hold his breath for, what, a freaking hour? Like, she's the Queen of Wakanda. She can do it for more than 5 seconds, right? So that was kind of weird how they kind of handled her death. I also, you know, it's kind of a chilling line where Namor says, you're the queen now. You know, like, you killed one of mine, I killed one of yours. It's that revenge that kind of kickstarts this war, so to speak. But then, like, no one calls her Queen Shuri. They call her Princess every time. So I don't know if Namor just doesn't understand how royalty terms work, or I don't. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. It was just kind of a weird writing thing where it sounded good, but then they didn't follow through on that. So, you know, it's like, that's the thing. It's these little moments that really, really, really amp this film up from being a potential A+, right? Like, for me, you know what I mean? Like, it's very good. I love the CGI for the most part. I really like the writing. I love the handle of this death of T'Challa. I love the passing of the torch. I enjoyed the villain upon the second rewatch. I think that, you know, it had some questionable choices where Shuri's in the water and it sounds like Rihanna's singing. I don't know who's actually singing, but, you know, it kind of evokes that sense of wonder and awe that, you know, Shuri is in this, you know, Namor's a killer, right? He's the bad guy, right? And then she kind of visits this area and she's like, oh, like, they're normal people trying to live a normal life, right? Like, this isn't like I don't know, the weird Arab group from Temple of Doom, whatever they were called, the Tubujis or whatever. I knew this title. You know, Mola Ram and his people, where it's like, you know, they're all crazy cultists, or like, you know, Master Chen from Ninjago. But no, it's just like they're normal people, you know what I mean? I mean, for the most part. And then, of course, you know, bad circumstances happen and stuff happens. But I think, you know, for the most part, it's fun. Like, it's a fun movie. It is serious and somber at times, but it also has a few funny moments, some really cool character moments. I love, you know, Shuri's entrances as a Black Panther. I love the end fight scene. I think that's really great. I like kind of the mystery element of, you know, Wakanda's kind of getting blamed for something they didn't do upon this ship in the, you know, this warship in the beginning, and then, you know, Martin Freeman's character is kind of like, hey, is that you guys? Because if it is, you gotta, like, stop doing that. And they're like, no, we were framed, or we were set up by someone, right? And I do like that element of, like, cat and mouse, almost like a Tom and Jerry scenario, right, where it's like this character does one thing, this character does another, and then eventually, you know, like both of them, and I do like that Shuri actually visits Namor and is like, hey, you know, I'm the next ruler pretty much of Wakanda. I want to solve this peacefully without bloodshed, without war, without killing everyone. Can we do that? And Namor's like, yeah, I'd like to, but you have to heed my terms. And she's like, well, I can't do that. And he's like, well, I can't do that either. So then crazy stuff happens, and I think that is, you know, it's a good example of, you know, clever writing, where it's not just like, I'm the bad guy because I'm the bad guy, you know what I mean? Like certain MCU villains, where it just feels like they're bad because they're bad in the comics and they have to be bad. This guy, I felt like, actually had a reason to do what he was doing. Not that I condone killing of people, but, you know, I feel like, oh, he wasn't just like, you know, comically evil, you know, to just for the sake of it. And I think that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I think it was a, you know, really cool movie. I think M'Baku was cool. Okoye was cool. Okoye has a little character arc, which is nice. Queen Ramonda, of course, she has some good moments as well, besides her really crappily filmed death. Shuri is, of course, great. I'm actually shocked they got her, because I remember when Marvel was throwing a big bitch fit about people not getting the COVID shot or whatever, and I don't think Shuri wanted it, and I remember, like, she got completely effed from Hollywood. Oh my god, how dare you! And they were going crazy. And, you know, I don't really give a shit about that. You know, COVID's over for the most part. I don't really want to hear if you got a shot or not. I'm not saying if I did either, because it'll kickstart World War III. But at the same time, I am glad that Marvel kept her, you know, regardless of her political opinions, and she's good. Like, I think she's good in pretty much all the movies she's been in, and I think she is a very good, you know, version of Black Panther that we're going to hopefully be seeing in these new Avenger films coming out in 2026 and 2027. Obviously, they do kind of play a little bit of catch up, where, you know, at the very end she kind of visits whatever her name is, I don't know, T'Challa's wife or lover, and she's like, oh hey, by the way, I didn't tell you, but T'Challa has a son, and his name is T'Challa. And I was like, oh, on the one hand, that's cool, because it gives Shuri a reason to not mourn, and I love the ending where she just kind of smiles, and it just ends on like a beautiful, hopeful note, where a lot of this movie is dour and sad and hopeless. It ends on a hopeful note, which I think is good filmmaking, but it's also like, yeah, you know, in the writer's room, they were like, you know, kind of panicking, right? Oh man, what if Shuri doesn't work? What are we going to do? If we don't recast, he had a son, and his name's also T'Challa. It's like, yeah, like, it seems like too good to be true, but, you know, in terms of the canon of the Marvel universe that we're watching, yeah, it makes perfect sense, right? And I think that's really kind of cool how they kind of, you know, went on with that. Now, apparently Namor is also in these Avenger films, because he's not dead, right? I remember Shuri stabbing him or burning him or whatever, and I like that fight scene. It was very, very gritty and real. But no, he doesn't die, right? He ends up kind of saving and kind of plotting for future things, and kind of, you know, establishing peace with Wakanda for now, and we'll have to see where that goes in these, you know, newer Marvel films. But yeah, man, I think this was an improvement on the first one in terms of CGI, writing, acting, pretty much all of it. I don't hate that first movie. I think it's really good. So don't take that as me saying the first film's horrible. I love the first movie, but this one I feel like did a lot better in terms of the thematic storytelling, the villain, the different tribes and how they kind of, you know, different ideologies clashing, like I said earlier. And I think that's kind of a really cool thing that they can kind of, you know, branch off of for you know, new installments, which is pretty effing cool. You know what I mean? It's a really cool thing too. I remember people loving this when it came out. And apparently no one likes it now? I don't know. I mean, I don't get what that's about. You know, it's got faults, right? Like I said, some of the editing's a bit wonky. Some of the jokes don't land. You know, Riri is fine, but some of her lines just kind of seem like trailer lines or just quips all the time. Something that, I get it, you know, you're dealing with like, oh, it's a normal college kid, and this is how you would react too. And yeah, I probably would be doing the same thing. But in certain cases, I'm like, all right, you're kind of NPCing a little bit too much for me, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's a fun movie. I think it's sad. I think it hits all the beats it wants to. It looks good. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's got really great action. It's brutal. And this is one of the first Marvel movies to be rated PG-13 for sequences of strong violence. Normally when a movie's rated for strong violence, it's automatically an R. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think this was the most violent MCU movie, but I you know, rating... You know my opinion on rating boards, man. They're all over the freaking place. Cars 2 is rated G, and there's murder and genocide. So it's like, all right, I guess because they're cars, but they're still using guns and killing each other. I don't know. I think Cars 2 should have been PG. Finding Dory's rated PG for a stupid sex joke. Like, all right, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Ratings are weird. But this is a good movie, and I think, you know, I'll stand by that. I don't agree with the hate. It has faults. Again, as I mentioned, it's not perfect, but I think it is slightly, for me, slightly a little bit above Black Panther 1. And I'm excited to see where the Wakandans go, where Shuri goes, where Namor goes, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the future of this franchise. And hey, Secret Invasion is next. Again, I'll be tackling that when I return from Disney, which is, I believe, 6 episodes. So I plan to watch 2 or 3 a day, and I'll get that review out as well. And then we have the other stuff. We're almost done with the MCU review, and then after the actual MCU stuff, I'm going to be covering the stuff that is quote unquote MCU, right? Like the X-Men movies, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Across the Spider-Verse, all this stuff that is canon to the MCU through the multiverse, not like a main universe thing. So it's going to be going on for a while, and I have other things too. I got more unboxing videos, I got gameplay I'm going to be doing soon, more edits and tributes. So it's not just going to be this. I'll be reviewing Andor. I know that releases on Tuesday. Of course, we're leaving for Disney on Tuesday, so I'm going to have to wait 10 days to finish that show, which is fine. Disney's going to be freaking awesome, but at the same time, I hopefully I won't get spoiled on that, but I'll have a review on that. There's a whole bunch of stuff to look forward to. I might also review Tales of the Underworld. I think I did see that, so maybe we'll get that video out. So yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new. It takes a second, it really helps your boy out, and it's 100% free. I'm going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever an A-. I think it's a really good film, better than what I remembered, and fun but also sad, and it's got all the emotions, man, for sure. Thank you guys. We'll see you in the next video.